We're here in Middlesex County, New Jersey, and the weather's absolutely spectacular today. We have the opportunity to look at some different active adult communities. And really what we wanted to do is give you some perspective. We're going to look at an active adult community that's on the higher end and one that's a little more on the mid-level range. And the thing that you're going to experience from looking at these properties, you get an idea as to what the lifestyle is like. What do they have to offer? Is there pickleball, inside pools, outside pools? What are all the different things that you can do to live an active adult community lifestyle? So get ready, we're coming at you. We're fortunate enough again to have Barbara Berg join us today, and I see Barbara walking over right now, so let's bring her in. Hey Barbara.
Hi, how are you today?
It's great to see you again.
Gorgeous
Thanks for taking the
day.
time. Isn't
My
it beautiful?
pleasure. Yes.
Here, you want to take a seat?
Sure, perfect.
Oh, it's so good to see you again, Barbara.
Same here. I'm so glad that you asked me to come here because there's so much information that people don't know about active adult communities and Middlesex County on what they have to offer.
So what are some of the reasons why someone would move to a community?
There are people that like people around them, need activities. A lot of people here are retired. About 50% are retired, 50% still work, but a community like this gives somebody the opportunity of doing things in their spare time, learning new activities, meeting new people, and the camaraderie that goes on with a community like this. If somebody gets sick, there's always somebody around to help out. If somebody has a joyful event, there are people around that can help celebrate.
You never feel alone.
Never, never, especially during COVID. You didn't feel isolated. It's a great place to come once you're an empty nester.
Tell me about some of the amenities they have going on here. I can't help but notice the golf
Oh
course.
my God.
You took me to the gym
Yeah.
downstairs. There's so much here.
Well, we have a golf course. We have a full gym. In fact, they're redoing the gym. They're constantly upgrading things so that it fits the modern people that are coming in and the older people that have been here, like a recumbent bike and a Peloton. So
So you got everything that you need.
it helps everybody. So you've got the gym, you've got the golf course, you've got an indoor pool, you have an outdoor pool, you have a beauty parlor, you have a physical therapist, you have a chiropractor, you have a massage therapist, you can have blood drawn here. There are many clubs available to people. Scrabble, cards, mahjong. There are teaching classes, there's yoga, um, many clubs that would fit anybody's needs, which is a very important thing as well.
That's wonderful because once, especially when you get out of the workforce, in your empty nesters, to your point, you want that sense of community.
Yes.
And you want to be surrounded by people that you have things in common with.
Yes. So you get to see somebody, especially after the winter. You also have in this community in particular, about 50% of the people move to warmer climates in the winter. So we call them snowbirds.
Okay.
They go down, most of them are Florida, but there are other locations
So
as
they're here
well.
half the year.
Correct.
Half the year somewhere else.
So while they're gone, there are still activities here because there are so many people that partake in it.
Now, does
It's
everyone
wonderful.
own in here? Or are there different renters that come in?
Everybody owns in here. It's also all single families, which some of the other communities have attached units and they also have condos. Here it's just single family.
Single family, standalone.
Standalone, about 1,200 homes in this development, which
That is
is
huge.
Yes, it is. It's huge. The outdoor pool, there's always activities. There's a cafe that has breakfast and lunch. There's just a plethora of information that somebody needs to come here to see what it is because it's incredible.
I don't think you can fully experience it until you actually came in, because when I'm driving in this morning, I'm looking around, I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm going to a resort somewhere.
They call it Camp Monroe
I can see
because
it.
of all the activities. And we do block parties. There's just so much that goes on here. Summer, winter, spring, fall, doesn't matter. There's also a lot of charity that's done within here. We do during Thanksgiving, we do food drives, there's clothing drives. There are all different activities depending on the club that's doing it at the time. So it's not only a community to have fun, it's also a community that helps the rest of Middlesex County.
Now, do the different communities, because there's 17 adult active
Yes.
communities in this area, just in Monroe Township or Monroe
Correct.
area,
Yes.
do the different places interact with each other?
Depending on the club, sometimes the clubs do. In fact, pickleball will go to other communities to play pickleball, and there's
Does it get,
competition.
yeah, I was gonna say, does
Oh
it get
my
competitive?
God, yes, it's worse than when you were a kid. But they do pickleball, they do tennis. So you have a lot of that camaraderie within the area. And sometimes we go outside the area. Sometimes we hit Jackson, Ocean County as well.
So Barbara, you had mentioned empty nesters. What if someone has a child that's in middle school or in high school? Can they
Well,
stay here?
it's interesting. It's pending, not middle school or high school. They have to be 19. It used to be 48, and that was generated by the township, not the community. And then the township changed that law.
So you used to have to be 48 years old to live here. Now you could be 19. So you could still have a family,
You
kids in
can't own
college.
it, but you can live in it.
Ah, okay.
Actually, I take it back. You can own it, but one person in the house must be 55.
So if there was a situation, there were kids that wanted to take care of their parents, as an example, kids could come in and purchase it as long as their parents live here.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
and
great.
that does happen.
So I know we're going to check out a lot of different amenities that are here today. We're also going to take a look inside of a unit so people can understand what you get for the money. I mean, this is on the higher end.
Yes.
So we'll go through that and then we'll check out another development that could be a little bit more affordable for people.
Excellent.
Let's go do it.
Okay.
All right, so we were walking over to go see the inside of a unit. We had to stop here. I mean, you got to see this.
Yeah.
Look at this golf course.
The golf course is amazing, and there's also a walking trail around the golf course. The interesting thing about here is you pay a little extra for the golf course. It's not included in your maintenance, where some other communities it is in your maintenance, and those people that don't play golf actually have to pay for it as well. So that is a positive here, which is great.
I mean, just in walking around the area, there's this playground for kids. The outdoor pool's spectacular.
Yes, and they have a lot of coverage so that you're not sitting in the sun, which is great. And there's also a lot of gazebos all around.
I think there's more gazebos per square foot than anywhere I've ever been. There's like 1,000 of them.
Yes,
They're everywhere.
even active adult people like to take a little stroll and like to sit and then like shade, which is good.
So if I'm looking to come here on a particular budget and I pay cash for the house, because you see a lot of that here.
Yes.
Things like the exercise classes and different things they have, are they a la carte or is some of it included with your monthly fees?
Exercise class is all included. The golf course is a little bit extra. Tennis is included, racquetball, pickleball. There are clubs that you can join to be part of that, but you don't have to. You can play on your own independently. The shuffleboard and the bocce are all free.
So I couldn't help but notice the walking path. I
Yes.
mean, that's got to be at least a mile walking path, if
Well,
not
you
longer.
have this and it is longer, and then you have another one on the other side that goes from the parking lot where we were to almost where the tennis pavilion is and the tennis courts.
There's 1,200 units here.
Yes.
I can't get over how much area this takes up. I can
Yeah.
only imagine how much acreage this is.
Yeah.
But it really does have that resort living like we've been talking about. I mean, you got to come check this place out. You want to go look at the interior of a unit?
Great. Let's go.
Let's do it. All right, Barbara, so we're here. Now, you know the owner of this property, don't you?
It happens to be me. I do.
Your beautiful home.
Thank you.
So
Thank
tell
you.
us just a little bit about what we're going to see when we go inside.
Well, you're going to see a home that I made. And when you buy new construction, and Toll Brothers has a whole bunch of areas that they're still building in, you get the choice to pick what you want. So you pick the cabinets and you pick the flooring and you pick the sinks and all sorts of stuff. And you have a lot of fun doing it and paying for it.
Right. And you also pick the model. right?
Yes, I picked the model. Originally, I picked a different model, and then I realized it wasn't open enough. I love the open concept, and this is more open. I don't have a separate dining room or living room. It's all open in one space, which really is great for entertaining, especially if you like to cook. You can be cooking while everybody else is there. You don't have to be out of the mix of people.
Now, does the type of model dictate where the physical location of the property is?
Yes, and the exterior as well. So
It's
I
got to be
couldn't have,
uniform for the area.
correct, yeah.
All right, well, it's beautiful. I can't wait to see it.
Okay, great. Come on in.
Barbara, this place is amazing.
They all the places here are, I have to tell you. They've built fabulous houses here, lots of space, high ceilings, big doors. You feel more open space than it actually is. And this is at almost 2,400 square feet.
And this was built in what year?
I'm here 16 years, 2008.
You know what I love about it? It's 10-foot ceilings everywhere.
Yes.
Some of the doors are 8-foot doors. It's really impressive, and it has such a great flow to it.
Yeah.
And you can just picture yourself living here when you walk in it.
I do. And if you were to buy something like that, you're looking anywhere between $650 and $700, 700,000.
That's what they go for now.
Yeah.
So now most people that come in and buy here, do they pay cash? I know I had mentioned it
A
earlier.
lot of them pay cash. Some go for mortgages. It depends on whether they have single family here and maybe a condo in Florida. Depends on whether they're a snowbird. They may use the equity and pay cash down there or pay cash up here. It varies. It
We were
does.
having an interesting conversation on the walk over here that even the snowbirds, they usually consolidate to one house eventually.
Yes, what happens is as people age out, it gets hard going back and forth to two places. So what they decide to do is either stay here and sell wherever with their second house is, or sell that or live in that and sell this, or wherever their children are
That
is
makes
where
sense.
they move. And sometimes they sell both because of that.
So when someone is a snowbird, they live here and they live somewhere else in Florida. Most people are down in Florida.
Correct. Yeah.
Do they kind of stick together? Like, do the people
funny.
living here have lived in the same place there?
Exactly. They play mahjong and cards here. They go down to Florida. They play the same mahjong and cards with the same people down there.
They stick together.
Yes, yes.
Let's see, will you show us around your house?
Sure, perfect.
All right. Now, I noticed that there was a sign outside that said there was a committee meeting or a board meeting coming up.
Yes.
What are the types of things that the board talks about?
They talk about different budgets, different things that they're doing in the community. They take a vote on whether they want to expand pickleball court, whether they want to redo the upstairs in the ballroom at the clubhouse, and it's voted on. And if there are things going on, they discuss that there. So there's a whole board that deals with that.
Now, there's certain limits as to what you can and can't do from an exterior standpoint, correct?
Correct, yes. And as the time goes on, they get expanded. Originally, when I moved here, you could not put a hot tub in your backyard. Now,
What do you mean? What are you supposed to do?
now you can put a hot tub in your backyard. Well, we have jacuzzis and hot tubs in the outdoor pool, in the indoor pool. There's a steam room, there's a sauna. So you've got all of that there. Originally, you could only do a patio or a deck, depending on your elevation, and you have to get permission from your neighbors. And there are certain things that you can put, you can't put.
I noticed that's the
Absolutely.
nice thing about them being standalone individual units. You have your own yard.
Right.
No attached wall.
Right. Now, not every community in Monroe has that. Some have attached units, some have condos and single family. So some have everything combined. Here it's just single family.
Now, when we go look at the other complex in Monroe, will that be an
Right.
attached wall type of
Right.
complex?
In fact, that's the one that we're going to go into. It's a semi-attached, and they also have a golf course there. But the difference between there and here, they have 24-hour full staff nurse on duty all the time.
And is that included with your
That's
association
included
dues?
with the maintenance, which is really very nice. We don't have that here.
Well, we'll have to go deeper on it when we
Right.
look at that. Shall we, Barbara?
Absolutely.
After you. All right, Barbara, we're at the clubhouse at the other active adult community. What's the difference between the two?
Well, the main difference here is you've got semi-attached units, one of which we're going to go see after here. The other is, if you can see over there, those are condominiums. So you've got, it's like more of a cluster building. And you've got, in one unit, there's about 6 different condominiums. So it brings the price down. The semi-attached and that bring the price down, which make it more affordable to people.
Well, it's great to have options too.
Yes,
So if you come
absolutely.
in here and you're like, I love the complex, you have different options. Some are more affordable, some may be a little less affordable, but you can find and cater whatever works for you.
Correct. This one also, you're almost walking distance to the supermarket. There's a supermarket, there's a drugstore, which also makes it a little easier for people if they don't have 2 cars, if it's a family household, or if they're just not drivers. A lot of people give up their cars after a while.
So, but you still golf. So
Correct.
there's another big golf course here as
Yes,
well.
yes, absolutely. And again, it's not paid for through the association, it's paid for individually.
Okay, so you can
So,
still opt in for it if you want to be part of
correct.
it.
And this way, if you don't play golf, you're not paying for it, which is nice. They've got the tennis courts here. They've got the swim pool. You also have an indoor pool here and all the ballroom, same amenities that you had in the other place.
So you still get everything that you need. It's
Yes.
just a question of what area you want to be in, what are maybe some specific amenities that you want, and what the style of property is.
Correct. Yeah. And again, this is very good for people that are downsizing that don't have young grandchildren and it's just really them and a husband or just them or just the man, doesn't matter. The semi-attached and the condos are great alternatives for them and they're much more affordable.
It's really an impressive community. Again, I can't get over how big this community is, just like the last one.
Yes, Monroe, Middlesex County, we have at least 17 in Monroe alone. And then the rest of Middlesex has others as well.
Oh, it's just a great spot to be
Yeah,
part of a community. Would you be kind enough to show us the inside of one of the properties here?
absolutely. Let's go take a look now.
All right. All right, Barbara, so here we are. We came to Greenbrier
Yes.
in Monroe Township. Now, the one thing I noticed when I was driving in here is there's different styles of houses. So they do have some standalone units.
Yes.
Then they also have more like sharing wall, duplex type of units.
Right. In fact, the one that we're going to go in to see is a duplex. You've got 2 that are together. They also have condominiums in here and standalone, which is different from where we came from, but there are other communities that have the same amenities, that have the semi-attached, that have the condos, that have the single families. So you've got a mix of that around in Middlesex.
So the difference is probably price point,
Absolutely. Price
right?
point, age makes a difference as well.
Now, when you come here, when were these built?
These were built about 25 years ago, maybe even a little more than that.
But if you're looking for affordability, this could be a great option.
Absolutely. You're looking, where there you were anywhere between 550 and $1,200,000. Here you're probably 350 to 8.
Okay.
So
So you have some different
depending.
options in there.
Exactly. And there are other communities that have less as well.
Now, we're in Middlesex County, New Jersey. So
Correct.
if you go even further south, can you find something even more affordable?
Absolutely. You can go down to Jackson, Toms River, further south. It's less expensive until you get down to Long Beach Island. Then the prices escalate again.
That's what happens. You're at the Jersey Shore.
Yes.
Shall we check it out?
Sure.
Great. Barbara, I think I just got to Europe.
This house is incredible.
It's amazing. The
One of my
artwork in
favorite
there.
clients, I sold them the house, and they're big collectors of art. When they moved in, it was totally different than what it is now. It's just magnificent now.
So now this particular unit, looking around it, it looks like it has the same number of rooms.
Yes, yes. Square footage is a little smaller and it's semi-attached. Now, in this community, you can rent out. Um, some of the other communities, you can rent them out, and some are very good for investments. There are some communities that when I have investors, I take them there in particular because I know that there are investors, they take investors, and they can get mortgages even though they're investors.
All right, so as an investor, you could come in here, be under the age of 55 and purchase it?
Yes, but you can only rent it to somebody that's 55. So it's the same thing anywhere. They have to be 55 to live in it. They don't have to be 55 to own it.
Okay, so you could come in an investor, you can buy these properties, you could rent the properties out.
Correct.
Someone over the age of 55 has to be here. Well, that's pretty good. This is a great place for an investment opportunity or if it's a place that you want to live. So let's take a little bit of a look around
Yeah.
and we'll kind of see what we have.
Right. I'll show you the amenities. Again, in this community, you have semi-attached, you have condominiums, and you have the standalone.
Is there a difference in HOA fees depending on where you
The
live?
semi-attached, I believe there is a difference in the HOA fees.
So you'd see a difference in there in the HOA fees and then also in the property taxes depending on the unit that you're
Absolutely.
purchasing.
Yes. Yes.
But this
Which
has
makes it
everything
more
that you
affordable.
need. I mean, this has the same room count as
Yes.
your property. It's just a little bit, it's a little smaller,
Exactly.
but it's beautiful.
Yes.
Let's take a look at it.
Great.
So there are some things that would be standard, like snow removal is generally standard.
Correct. Snow
community.
removal, mowing the lawn. What's not standard? Well, it is standard, but most communities, if you have mildew on the side of your house, you're responsible for power washing it. You first get a letter. If you don't power wash it within a certain period of time, you get a fine. If you don't do it, you get another fine. Same thing with mulch. If you're responsible for most communities, even with the last community we were in, even if you keep the original landscaping, you're still responsible for filling in the mulch.
And you have
every
to
year.
do it
And
every
you
year.
have to do it. Otherwise, you get a fine. If you have garbage collection, let's say on a Tuesday, you can put your garbage out Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. If you put it out before, you get a warning and then you get a fine. Come daylight savings time in the winter, you're allowed to put it out at 5 o'clock. So there are, and that's standard in most of the developments.
Say that a piece of the vinyl siding is falling down. Does the HOA come in and fix that, Barbara?
No, you have to fix that. And they come around, the HOA comes around to inspect because they want everybody's home to look the same, to look clean and neat and intact. And if they see that a piece of siding may be coming off, they will send you a note. You have to take care of that.
Now, if there's a hole in the roof and the roof's leaking, that would be the HOA's responsibility.
That's my responsibility in my house. Single family, fee simple. I'm responsible from the tippy top to the very bottom.
And that's a great distinction. But if it's not fee simple,
Then the condominium is usually responsible, but you have to read your docs.
see, that's all the more reason that you have to speak to an expert as well, someone like Barbara, because you really have to understand what you're getting into when you're purchasing in an adult active community.
Correct.
You know, there's certain pros and there's certain cons associated with different developments, and they do vary.
Yes, absolutely.
Barbara, thank you so much for taking the time today.
It was a pleasure. I'm glad that I was able to show you two different active adult communities.
And you know, as I had indicated before to everyone out there, if you're looking in an active adult community, Barbara covers a lot of the area in the state of New Jersey and your go-to resource. You live in one and you understand the needs of everyone looking to purchase in those areas.
Absolutely.
Now, you also spend some time volunteering as well.
In November, I got a designation to be a volunteer patient advocate under the state ombudsman program in a nursing home. And I do spend time advocating for the patients in Monroe.
Beautiful inside and out. Thanks for
you.
taking the time today, Barbara.
A pleasure. Looking forward to the next time.
All right, we'll be there.
Okay.
After you.
Thank you.
So what a great day today. We had the opportunity to look at a couple of different active adult communities in Monroe Township, New Jersey. And we really got a good feel for different price points and different amenities. The first property that we had looked at, it was higher end, where we had price points up to 1.2 million. They had a golf course and a pool and pickleball and a gym. They had everything that you needed to live an active lifestyle. When we came to the second community, it was equally as nice, but it was a little more affordable. You had the ability to not just look at a single family home, which is what we saw in the first community, but you had a choice. You could be in a single family, you could be in more of a duplex where you share one wall, or you could be more in a condo type of association. As far as the amenities are concerned, they still had a golf course, they still had a pool, still had pickleball, and all those things that you need to kind of stay active and enjoy your life. So I hope you really appreciated what we were doing today. It's about that time of the day and it's time for me to hit the back nine. Thanks, guys.